This has serious implications for the Boston Red Sox. Alex Cora made a quote just the other day that really rubbed me the right way, frankly. And I think that it's going to be really important what we see happen next. And this is a change of tune for the Red Sox organization that I think that we all, as Red Sox fans, as baseball fans, we really need to embrace, because this is a change. And I've heard similar things in the press from Craig Breslow. It's great. So let's get into it. What just happened? What did Alex Cora say? Let's jump over to the graphic right here. You've got Alex Cora here. You can read the quote in your own time. I'll keep it up there. But basically what I took away from this was, in years past, the manager, everybody's going to say something for PR purposes to just kind of say, hey, we did our best. Guys played great, whatever. And we're looking forward to next year. It's a bummer we didn't make it. But Cora was candid here. He was really honest. And this quote is really telling me that not only did the guys in the room think that they could make it, Cora thought that they could make it. And it makes me feel like the front office was thinking the same thing. And really saying in the last sentence there, we blew it. That is huge. That honesty is so important to me as a Red Sox fan, and I think to the rest of baseball, just kind of saying, hey, we're trying. So that's what this whole video is about. Welcome to Red Sox Digest. I'm Evan Sharrard. Please subscribe. We are on the rise here, trying to make it the number one place to come for Red Sox baseball. Subscribe for all the latest news, rumors. We're going to be covering the offseason every single day that we can. And the season's winding down for the Red Sox. We're missing the playoffs again. Just missed. Got eliminated by the Blue Jays. It's just kind of tough. But what Alex Cora said really excites me for what's next. But before we get to that, let's talk about what happened. So there's Alex Cora's quote again. Primarily what I want to be talking about, though, today is kind of the drop in stats. So the Red Sox were really having their key players play exceptionally well. And Devers was hitting for power, and he had a great season overall. The RBIs total is not as high as I think you'd want it to be for one of your key sluggers. I mean, your best player. His OPS plus was at 138, which I think is pretty positive, just because 138, that's 38 above average. And for those who are uninitiated, a 100 in plus stats, so OPS plus 100 is league average. Anything below is below, anything above is above. So Devers was a great hitter this year. He was 38 above average. Obviously doesn't steal any bases, but the strikeout rate pretty high. The walks not as high as you'd like them to be for him. So the plate discipline at times, that's always been a thing for Devers. Where is he walking as much as he should? No. Is he striking out more than he should? Yes. Is he batting well? Yes. His average was kind of down this year. The on base was still great. 28 home runs so far, and there's still a few more games. Hopefully, kind of rooting for him to get over that 30 mark. But Devers was really injured. I mean, it came out that he'd been fighting this shoulder issue on both sides of his body since about March. That's insane. Or April, rather. This guy's been fighting his shoulders, now that I think about it, don't quote me on that, but he's been fighting his shoulder problems for most of the season because he's gone on with shoulder soreness, and this has been happening month on and month off. So it really does seem to me that he played through a lot of these injuries, and that's why he wasn't as good as he usually is. He just looked off to me come the last couple weeks of the season, and he seemed really frustrated. And as a Red Sox fan who's watched the team my whole life, I've never seen Rafi be so upset. He's usually a very happy-go-lucky guy. He loves playing baseball. It's like he's living his dream. He's won a World Series. The dude was a kid when he did it. I've seen his entire career, and just to kind of watch him like that, it was just something was up with him. And that's what I think about that situation with Devers. But there are other players as well who just kind of dropped in their performance. So there's Devers again, and this is one of the bigger ones. Connor Wong had a huge breakout season offensively. I mean, he's always been a good defensive catcher, and he was great again this season and still is. But Connor Wong had some power that he showed off last year. It carried over to this year. Not a ton of home runs, but Connor Wong had an average in the mid 300s up until about early August. And then he just started to slump. And that happens, and you don't expect anybody to bat 350 in today's baseball. But Connor Wong was one of the key players who was really why the Red Sox offense was so good this season for much of the first half and parts of the second. But once he cooled off, it seemed like the rest of the team cooled off too offensively. And a lot of this season really did kind of turn out to Red Sox offense is really hot. Their pitching is great. That was the first half. The second half was a lot of this. Red Sox pitching is great. Red Sox hitting is bad. Red Sox hitting is great. Red Sox pitching is bad. Tanner Houck was an all-star this season. He really was one of the best pitchers in baseball at one point, with an ERA in the low twos. And his ERA got up to 3.12, which is fine. And then his ERA plus is now down at 1.38. And again, these are good numbers. Remember that. But I think when you include everything that happened after the All-Star break, he really had a significant decrease in effectiveness. And I made a video at one point about Andrew Bailey, the Red Sox pitching coach's strategy, and how it really excelled with throwing more breaking balls, and it was working, and the Red Sox ERAs were all down, and everybody was striking out more hitters, and we were just pitching better. And it just seems, there was a great athletic article about it by Jen McCaffrey and another collaborator. She's the Red Sox beat writer, by the way. And really what it said is it seems like since the All-Star break, it just seems like the Red Sox are giving up more contact on their breaking balls. Teams are going in and sitting on them. And one manager of a team that was left undisclosed, because of course, said, yeah, we do go in and we sit breaking ball. We tell all our guys to sit breaking ball when we play the Red Sox. And that was a change. And we've noticed that change has brought these pitchers' numbers back down to earth. So it's something that we'll see maybe change next season, but the Red Sox just couldn't get back on the other end of it. And even though these stats are great for Tanner Houck, they just aren't as good as that beginning of the season, which was going to be hard to keep up. And then here's the Major League home run allowed leader. And by leader, I mean he's given up the most. So Cutter Crawford started the season very, very strong. One of the best pitchers in baseball. A huge shock to, I think, all Red Sox fans who had been following Cutter Crawford the past few years, not because he was good, but because he was that good. I don't think that Red Sox fans, for the majority of us, thought that Cutter Crawford would be an ace level pitcher at any point. He's good. Like 4.17, I would have thought would be probably where he ends up, hopefully upper threes, but really, he was in that low 2 area for a few months, striking out a ton of guys, not walking a lot of guys, and then he starts to give up the home run ball, and he just kept giving it up. And that's really been the big problem that he's had, and he also had a rough second half of the season. The numbers really aren't that bad outside of the home runs allowed. I just think that it was the wrong time of the season to get cold, and that was really the story of that's what happened. The Red Sox hitting was always great. Their pitching was fantastic through the first half. The second half came. We started off really cold, and the pitching was on when the hitting wasn't, and the hitting was on when the pitching wasn't. And you've got to hit to score runs. You got to score runs to win, and you got to pitch well to keep the other team from scoring more runs than you. I usually like to say if you score 5, you should be safe to win. That means you've pitched well enough and you've also hit well enough. But a lot of times the Red Sox needed to score 7 or 8 to win. And then a lot of times they needed to score 3 to win, and they couldn't do that. So it was one day or the other. And baseball is a long season, 162 games, and there are slumps and streaks. There are highs and lows just like in life, but that was really the story of the Red Sox. So that's what happened. That's why Cora thought this team is a playoff team, and then all of a sudden we blew it. And really, we did, because there were a lot of games in hand that we were really in a good spot. So what's next for the Red Sox? Frankly, I think that there are a few players we can look at here. These are the stats, by the way, just to kind of prove here. This was on the day where the season is the moment of filming this. The Red Sox are in 9th. They've been eliminated from playoff position in the American League. That's the American League standings. And this was their position when we went to the All-Star break. Or sorry, this is their position at the trade deadline. 56 and 51. Not far back out of the playoff race. And yeah, it was really just kind of crushing to be sitting just a few games back, really right there with the Royals and the Twins. And they didn't end up where they wanted to be. So what's next? The Red Sox have a lot of key players. I think that signing starting pitching and getting a right-handed power bat in the offseason, along with the added growth and health of this guy, Triston Casas, is going to be key, because Casas was incredible in the last couple weeks that he played, and his health was a big issue all year long. I mean, he played pretty much like 2-ish months of baseball, and he clobbered 3 home runs the other day. I mean, when you have Devers and Casas, the Red Sox lineup, there was nobody to be scared of besides Rafael Devers or a consistent power threat. Tyler O'Neill hit the most home runs on the team, but also the high strikeout rate leads to, okay, I know I want to pitch away from contact. And then once O'Neill got into good counts, then he hits the home runs. But Casas is a different story. Yes, he strikes out a lot, but his discipline is incredible. His pitch selection, fantastic. Also, he's a lefty. So a lot of pitchers, more people than not in the world are right-handed dominant people. So there are more right-handed pitchers in the major leagues. Granted, the lefties are sought after, so there are a lot of left-handers who are probably not as adept as the right-handers for that reason. They're more rare. So Casas is one of the guys that I'm looking for to break out next year, even more than he already has. He's shown that he's got the ability. He just hasn't been able to put a full season together of, hello, I'm Triston Casas. I'm a fantastic offensive first baseman. Fear me. Rafael Devers, healthy. I just want him healthy. He's been my favorite player, probably my favorite player of all athletes of all sports that I follow, of all Red Sox history. I love him the most. I've watched his entire career. I love his attitude. I love his energy. I love his play style. He's awesome. And I really just want him to be healthy, take care of himself, see him next season. And I really hope that what we can see is we go out, grab some starting pitching. Not too much. We don't need a lot. And maybe that is bringing in a big name like Corbin Burnes, who will be at the top of the free agent market. But I think the Red Sox are a few pieces away, and we've got a bunch of young prospects that we've been talking about for weeks coming up soon, too. Marcelo Mayer's right there. What happens at shortstop? Does Ceddanne Rafaela go out into the outfield? And Rafaela is another player who's young and right there. He had this full season here in the bigs after last season just kind of coming up and hitting some bombs. Ceddanne is a speed threat. He's a power threat. He has incredible defensive prowess in the outfield and the infield. So you can really throw him around, and all of a sudden we're kind of looking at an Atlanta Braves, like right before Ronald Acuna came up. There was Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna Jr. Both those guys came up at the same time, and then Max Fried was there, Mike Soroka. They had a whole bunch of young talent come in, and all of a sudden, Austin Riley a couple years later, all of a sudden, the Braves are an incredible team that they signed up for 10-plus years, and they might miss the playoffs this year, and they've had a lot of injury issues. Acuna just couldn't stay healthy, unfortunately, for them. But that is where the vision of the ownership saying, we want to build for sustained success and not spend as much money, and the fan vision of, we want to frigging win, finally connects after like 5 years. So that is what I think is next. That is what happened, And that is what I think about Alex Cora's comments on blowing it this season. The Red Sox did blow it, but there's always next season, and I'm glad to finally see them taking accountability. So thank you all for watching. I'm Evan Sharrard from Red Sox Digest. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you all next time.